Good evening and welcome to the Problem of Being Awake. My name's Ben, and I wanted to discuss the problems in society with regard to demasculating people and how it links into the condemnation of white people at the moment. And it's a cultural shift that's happened from the progressive left. Now, the idea that alpha males are not vital for the production of the human race is insane. Beta males have generally more feminine qualities. There's nothing wrong with being either, but you need both, and you need alpha and beta females. You can't have a world without them all, and you can't celebrate one over the other, but especially not the lower one that is generally less productive, industrious, and has less bearing on creating and innovating and forging forward in a new world. Now, the progressive woke left have taken control of this, and they've done it quite well because they've made white people feel guilty about being white, specifically in America, but also over the continent. And they've brought in that men need to hide their masculinity. Things like microaggressions and all of these little seeds of racism that have been fed by Robin DiAngelo and her crew, who believe in white fragility and white guilt. Here's the thing about alphas, and this is alpha females and alpha males. Alpha females operate slightly differently. It depends on which social situation, but in the workplace they generally apply the same. So an alpha is naturally someone who's willing to lead. They're also likely to take more risks. They're likely to act on their ideas more often. And they're likely to be entrepreneurial. And they're likely to be able to manage people well. Okay, now, if those qualities are qualities you want out of your society, you're really asking for an end to capitalism. Alpha females do the same, but it can change if their role is in the home. They still exhibit the same traits of individualism, free-flowing thoughts of ideas, and the kind of natural reaction to go forward. And it's that call to go into the fire and into the place where people are making lots of noise and make a bigger noise. It is what alpha males do, but we can't. Unfortunately, the Gen Z woke ideology has just pushed the world too far, and the world's pushed back, and Donald Trump's win in the election was like a knockout punch to woke. But it got its tendrils in too far, and it started recommending that men demasculize, and they invented things like toxic masculinity. Now, you'd have to give me an example of toxic masculinity, because lots of people have been accused of it who've done nothing wrong. Obviously, if somebody is still in this day and age grabbing women by the bum or slapping them on the bum or anything like that, then yeah, we just call those guys like dicks. That's what they are. They're probably not alpha males. Lots of people are good at faking confidence. And actually, if you fake confidence for long enough, you get it. But that doesn't mean you have the qualities that are needed to be an alpha male. So, an alpha male will be the head of every company, or female, because that's how you get to the top. Competition is good. Meritocracy is always good for alphas. And for betas, it's a different personality traits. They're much more agreeable, much more open emotionally, much more conscientious of the effects of what might happen with their ideas. But they're less likely to push things very far. If they get any pushback, they're going to likely decline, or if they go for a job rise, they get declined. They're more likely to accept it than an alpha would. An alpha would push more, and that's one of the reasons for the gender pay gap. But that's not the point of this discussion. Really, we have a society that has been built on alpha males and their ideas. And now We are embracing the ideas of many, many cultures, and obviously we've embraced the ideas of the female. I mean, it's hard to say that 200 years ago, there were some influential females, but a lot of them had to try and do things under male names. But now we don't have any of that. Now equality is absolutely in our society. And people who want communist equity, that's not how society works. That destroys meritocracy. It destroys the idea of working towards a goal, because what's the point if everyone achieves the same thing in the end, no matter how much work they put in? It destroys the idea of individualism and individual thought, and group thought is very much insufficient compared to individual thought. A group of individuals is far more powerful than a group who have a singular ideology or thought. And the idea that even you can get rid of alpha males and you'd have a massive reduction in STEM skills, so science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Now, interestingly, this is a horrible statistic, but only 30% of those engineering degrees go to women, because women don't choose those subjects. And only 20% of all university degrees go to men. So you can see how that's a big decline already. Now, there should be no push to put a beta male in front of an alpha male, because it makes no logical sense. There's nothing wrong with we need both as a society, absolutely. Because we can't have all entrepreneurial leadership, sort of more brave thinkers, who are prepared to take risks, because then everything is going to be a risk. So we need continuity, we need counsel, and, beta males, beta females, and everybody has a role to play. And it's not that any one is better than the other. It's just that the characteristics are different, and all are needed for society to go ahead. But if it wasn't for alpha males, nobody would be able to complain about that, because we wouldn't have the technology to send something beyond a post, a little like snail mail. If that, we'd probably be stuck in the Bronze Ages. Every advancement, every technological advancement, every empirical advancement has been driven really by the dynamism, innovation, and the leadership of alpha males. Julius Caesar's a classic example. He did so much good for the world in his time, which wasn't the Roman Empire. Before that, when he was it's the Senate, it was just his nephew took over as the first Roman emperor. So we need to get off this ship of villainating males. We need to get off this idea of this sensitivity that you can't be offended, and no one can be offended, and therefore we must, mask everything, keep ourselves down. White people, keep your heads down, because now it's time for everyone else to rise above. It's DEI, communist doctrine. I mean, I heard it put brilliantly. DEI really stands for didn't earn it. Didn't earn it. Because what it means is that the appointment of people in jobs has got nothing to do with their merit. It has everything to do with how they fit with the culture and what race and gender specific criteria they have. And you can break that down to a point where every department must have 1% of black transsexual females. And then 1% of pan-gender gay men. And then you can break it down into so many details and things. Who enforces it? That's what DEI have been there for, to enforce it. And they fail, because now major companies, big ones, Walmart, the biggest employer in the world, is rolling back its entire DEI program, getting rid of it completely. So the woke have lost on that. And it's time for a surge, not in masculinity. I'm not saying to go forward differently than you normally would, but don't be ashamed if you're an alpha male. Don't be ashamed if you get things done, if you're one of those people, and if you're not the most sensitive person. We all feel empathy. It's not that, but an alpha may be to a less degree than a beta male. There's no exact science behind this. So there's no reason to push either one down, but actually what it's doing is it's pushing both down. And Generation Z are the only generation who have no hindsight or foresight. They refuse to accept history as it is, and they've got no vision for the future beyond destroying and dismantling the present. And it's a big problem. So I'll end it there. But always nice to talk. Always nice to talk to you. It is a big problem. We need to solve it. We need to go back to normal, where everybody doesn't get a label just because of what they look like and how they sound. As long as they're being polite and not being actually hateful within their speech, then everybody should be able to get along. So I'll leave it there. Pleasure as always. You be lucky. I'll be good. I'll see you soon.